Hello, if you are new, welcome in. If you are returning, welcome back. We are traveling back to 1986. As I'm writing and recording this, I didn't realize tragically it's the 40th year anniversary of the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion. The shuttle broke apart 73 seconds after liftoff. Krista McAuliffe, who was supposed to be the first teacher to give a lesson from space, was among the 7 astronauts to perish that day. On a personal note, I can remember our principal making the announcement over the PA. Please keep the crew of the Challenger in your prayers. They were lost in space. And I took it literally as that. It wouldn't be until I got home that I really understood what was going on. Many classrooms throughout the country watched this tragedy unfold in real time. The worst nuclear accident in history occurred at a Soviet plant in Chernobyl, causing massive radiation leaks and 31 deaths. The Iran-Contra affair will begin to come to light. The secret U.S. plan to sell arms to Iran in exchange for hostages, then using those funds to aid Nicaraguan Contras, Colonel Oliver North will end up being the scapegoat. A summit between Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev will occur in Iceland to discuss nuclear disarmament. This will mark the year of the Statue of Liberty centennial, marking the monument 100th anniversary. Michael Jordan sets NBA playoff record with 63 points in a game. Barry Bonds makes his MLB debut for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mike Tyson becomes the youngest heavyweight champion ever, defeating Trevor Berbick in a second-round TKO. He dominated the boxing scene throughout 1986, winning 13 fights, establishing a 27-0 record with 25 knockouts, and starting to rise to be the undisputed champion. I Miss You by Climax, Say You, Say Me by Lionel Richie, That's What Friends Are For by Dionne Warwick were the top 3 songs of 1986. And if I could just say, I had to go and look up I Miss You on YouTube. I barely remember that song. The first induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will occur. The first class will include Chuck Berry, James Brown, Ray Charles, Fats Domino, the Everly Brothers, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, and posthumously Sam Cooke, Buddy Holly, and Elvis Presley. On television, Geraldo Rivera will infamously air live inside Al Capone's vault. He'll break inside Al Capone's vault to his embarrassment on live television, find absolutely nothing. You had the premiere of Perfect Strangers, Alf, L.A. Law, Designing Women, Matlock, Head of the Class, Pee-wee's Playhouse, The Real Ghostbusters, and the national debut of The Oprah Winfrey Show. At this year's Academy Awards, after 32 years and 8 nominations, Geraldine Page wins Best Actress for A Trip to Bountiful. A shout out to Be Kind Rewind. I enjoy watching her channel. Go check her out. The link is in the description. William Hurt wins Best Actor for Kiss of the Spider Woman. Out of Africa wins Best Picture of 1985. In 1986, I'm still going to the movies. Maybe not every single weekend, but more weekends than not. I'm either going by myself or with my cousins. These are the movies in 1986 that I wanted to see over and over. Please hit that like and subscribe. At number 10, Jumping Jack Flash. In IMDb overview, Terry works for a bank and uses computers to communicate with clients all over the world. One day she gets a coded message from an unknown source. After decoding the message, she becomes embroiled in an espionage ring. People are killed and Terry is chased. Throughout, she remains in contact with this unknown person who needs her help to save his life. Released October 10th, 1986, I was excited to see this because Whoopi, who was this huge sensation from The Color Purple in her comedic debut, as the TV spots put it, I was just watching Siskel and Ebert review this movie where they basically said the parts where she just talked is fine, but all the chase scenes got to be too much. And the more I'm thinking about it, those were all the things I absolutely loved. The scene where she's being dragged inside of a telephone booth, or the scene where she has to get inside the embassy. She disguised herself as some sort of entertainer, lip-syncing Diana Ross. Siskel and Ebert, of course, gave it 2 thumbs down. I liked it enough. I saw it definitely one more time, maybe 2. At number 9, Police Academy 3, Back in Training. When the governor had to close one of the 2 police academies, Lessard will enlist the help of Mahoney, Hightower, Jones, Tackleberry, Hooks, and Callahan to train the new recruits, including Mrs. Fackler from the first movie, Bud Kirkland, Sweet Chuck, and Zed from the second movie, while trying to keep Mauser from the other academy from sabotaging Lessard's academy. Released March 21st, 1986, I saw this at the Regency Theater. There will be a Police Academy movie released every year from 1984 to 1989. As much as I loved these movies growing up, watching them as an adult, each movie is watered down. From what was originally an R-rated raunchy comedy to the more kid-friendly comedy. The jokes from the second movie will be recycled into this movie and the other sequels. Now, having said that, it made me laugh enough. I did want to see it again. I saw this maybe 3 more times. At number 8, One Crazy Summer. In IMDb overview, with a name like Hoops McCann, he's bound to get that basketball scholarship after high school, right? Wrong. What Hoops really wants to do is to write and illustrate a love story. To help him find his way, his friend George invites Hoops to come with him and his sister to spend the summer on Nantucket. The friends' crazy summer begins when they pick up Cassandra on the way. She's being chased by a motorcycle gang. From then on, it gets only crazier. Once on the island, Hoops and George, along with the Stork twins and Ak, must help Cassandra save her grandfather's house from the greedy Beckerstead family. Along the way, Hoops must find a way to write his cartoon love story while finding love in real life. Released August 8th, 1986, I saw this at the Midtown Theater. I absolutely love this movie from beginning to end. I love the camaraderie between Hoops, George, Ack, and the Stork twins. I love the chemistry between John Cusack and Demi Moore. It was great seeing Demi Moore in a comedy. I saw this twice, maybe 3 times. At number 7, Club Paradise. A Google overview, Robin Williams plays Jack Monica, a retired firefighter who teams up with reggae singer Ernest Reed, played by Jimmy Cliff, to open a tropical island resort. In addition to local eccentric British layabout Anthony Claudine Hayes, played by Peter O'Toole, Jack and Ernest are joined by tourists eager to stay at their resort, including the goofy party-seeking duo of Barry and Barry, played by Rick Moranis and Eugene Levy, respectively. Unfortunately, whiny customers and greedy land developers threaten to spoil the fun. Released July 11th, 1986, I saw this a week early as a sneak preview. What made me want to see this movie, Robin Williams doing a straight comedy. As I said in my last video, from 83 to 86, I was watching SCTV 5 nights a week on my local PBS station. Learning Andrea Martin was in this, I was excited to see her outside of SCTV. As I'm writing this, it's now dawning on me Harold Ramis, who co-wrote and directed this, was a member of the Second City, and 90% of the cast were also members of Second City. I really love the soundtrack to this, especially the song that played over the opening credits and the song that played over the montage of getting the resort ready for the guests. I saw this 3 times while it was in the theater. At number 6, Armed and Dangerous. In IMDb overview, Frank Dooley, played by John Candy, is an ex-cop thrown off the force after being framed by corrupt cops. Herman Cain, played by Eugene Levy, is an out-of-work attorney who quit because he lost his nerve. Both men turn to a private security firm to find employment, but everything goes quickly wrong when the first warehouse they guard gets robbed. Dooley and Cain suspect foul play, and there's something fishy about the security firm's union, too. Our 2 heroes decide to investigate and uncover intrigue and conspiracy, with only their ingenuity and resourcefulness keeping them alive. Released August 15th, 1986, I saw this at the Sam Eric 4. This will be the 3rd movie in 3 years I've seen where John Candy and Eugene Levy co-starred together. I love their chemistry and how well they work off each other. It's been a while since I've done this, but this would have been my first introduction to Tiny Lester. Many would recognize as Debo from the Friday movies, and Meg Ryan. I saw this 3 times in the theater. At number 5, Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. Having been exiled on Vulcan, Kirk and crew are preparing to return to Earth to face charges. Meanwhile, an alien probe creating strange sounds towards Earth, creating destruction. The only thing that can respond back are humpback whales, which are now extinct in the 23rd century. Kirk and crew will travel back to the 20th century, 1986, to find humpback whales to bring back to the 23rd century. Released November 26, 1986, I love that they went for a full lighthearted tone. If Star Trek 3 piqued my interest, Star Trek 4 will make me a balls-to-the-wall Star Trek fan, a Trekkie. Not long after seeing this, I rented Star Trek, the original series, The City on the Edge of Forever from the first season, and a piece of the action from the second season. Overall, I saw Star Trek 4 3 times in the theater. At number 4, Running Scared. A Google overview, Ray and Danny, played by Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal respectively, are two detectives hot on the trail of drug kingpin Julio Gonzalez, played by Jimmy Smits. They manage to nab the drug lord, but the bus is messy and the two are suspended. While vacationing in Key West, they decide to retire from the police force and open a bar. But when they return from Chicago, they find out that Gonzalez has been released on bail. They vow to not quit the force until the dangerous dealer is behind bars for good. Released June 27th, 1986, I first saw this at the Sam Eric 4 by chance. It was after one of the many times I saw Ferris Bueller's Day Off at the same theater and sneaking into the other theater to see Running Scared. Not really knowing what this was at first, from the time Billy Crystal said his first lines, I was all in. I guess as far as buddy cop movies go, this has Lethal Weapon beat by 1 year. I loved the chemistry between Hines and Crystal. The soundtrack was amazing. I especially loved the montage of them in Key West while Michael McDonald's Sweet Freedom is playing in the background. The scene where they're riding in Gonzalez's car while Man Size Love is playing. I did immediately buy the soundtrack. Another favorite scene, them chasing Gonzalez and ending up driving on the L tracks. This would be my first introduction to character actor Dan Hedaya. If you're my age, you might know him as Nick Tortelli on Cheers or Cher's father in the movie Clueless, and Jimmy Smits. I will say, having just watched this for the first time in many years, and especially watching through 21st century lenses, there are some elements of this movie that age like milk. I'm talking of every Latino being a criminal with thick accents. That wouldn't and shouldn't hold up today. That being said, in 1986, I saw this at least 4 times in the theater, if not more. At number 3, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Faking sick to get out of school and knowing that he can't call out anymore after today, Ferris is going to make today count with his best friend Cameron and his girlfriend Sloane. Against Cameron's objections, taking Cameron's dad's Porsche, They tour Chicago and what would be called John Hughes' love letter to Chicago. And I definitely felt that watching this. Principal Rooney and Ferris' sister Jeannie trying to expose him. Ferris has to make it back home before his parents. Released June 11th, 1986, I first saw this at the Sam Eric 4. This would be my first introduction to seeing a John Hughes directed movie in the movie theater. I have seen Mr. Mom and National Lampoon's Vacation, movies that he wrote. This will be my first introduction to Charlie Sheen. My favorite moments, Cameron pretending to be Sloane's father and Rooney thinking it's Ferris at first, but when Ferris calls from another line, Cameron as Sloane's dad let Rooney have it. The parade scene and the scene where he's racing to beat his parents home. I saw this 6 times, maybe more. At number 2, The Golden Child. A Google overview. After a Tibetan boy, the mystical golden child is kidnapped by the evil Sardo Numspa, humankind's fate hangs in the balance. On the other side of the world in Los Angeles, the priestess Ki Nang seeks the chosen one who will save the boy from death. When Nang sees Chandler Gerald, a finder of lost children, on television, she seeks him out. Released December 12th, 1986. I wish I can remember what movie in the late summer, early fall I was watching. It might have been Tough Guys. When I first saw the trailer for this, I was laughing hysterically. I first saw this at the Duke and Duchess Theater that Saturday. I was laughing from beginning to end. I want the knife. I loved the comedy, like the action sequence. I loved the chemistry between Eddie Murphy and Charlotte Lewis, who played Ki Nang. During my Christmas break and throughout January and February, I saw this, I would say, maybe close to 10 times, if not more. As I've always said, one of the favorite parts of going to the movies was looking at the movie posters in the lobby and watching the trailers. Here are some posters and trailers that I fondly remember. Number 1, Little Shop of Horrors. A Google overview, meek flower shop assistant Seymour pines for co-worker Audrey. During a total eclipse, he discovers an unusual plant that he names Audrey 2, which feeds only on human flesh and blood. The growing plant attracts a great deal of business for the once struggling store. After Seymour feeds Audrey's boyfriend to the plant after his accidental death, he must come up with more bodies for the increasingly bloodthirsty plant. Released December 19th, 1986, I saw this at the Regency Theater. A month or so before it came out, I saw posters for this in the lobby, seeing Steve Martin, John Candy, and Bill Murray, and being very curious. A week before it opened, seeing TV spots of Steve Martin singing the Dennis song as he punches his receptionist in the face is what really made me want to see this. It was December 23rd when I first saw it. I saw it in the afternoon. I was first taken in by the prologue and opening number, being blown away by Ronette, Crystal, and Chiffon, though that opening song was played on the TV commercials for a couple of weeks, by the Skid Row number, and especially hearing Rick Moranis sing his part. I was hooked. Rick Moranis, over the last 2 years, have often played these nerdy or schwarmy type of characters. Though he's still playing a nerdy type of character, he showed such range and depth in that song, in that character. I wanted to hear him sing another song. And Audrey, played by Ellen Greene, what an amazing, powerful performance. I almost forgot about Steve Martin's Dennis song, the reason I wanted to come see this in the first place, until his scene finally came, and I was not disappointed. The Feed Me scene, being blown away, but even more so blown away by the Suddenly Seymour scene. I saw this in the afternoon, and I came back to see it later that night, and will see this 3 more times. Of all the movies I seen this year, this was the one I was the most excited about and anticipating it coming on video. I've never seen or even knew there was a stage show until after seeing this movie. In fact, I was in disbelief when someone told me a couple of years later Seymour and Audrey died in the original stage show. The movie ending was perfect. I understand Frank Oz shot the original stage show ending and it didn't test well, giving us the ending we have now. Having since watched that original ending, would I have liked it the same? Who knows? I do know I spent this time becoming emotionally invested in Seymour and Audrey, and then to have them die, I don't know if I would have walked away from this movie the same as I did with the ending you see on the screen. Or, being the Little Shop of Horror completist I like to believe I am today, I wonder if I had been familiar with the musical beforehand, would I have had the same reaction to this movie? Who knows? Anyway, Those were my 10 movies of 1986 that I wanted to see over and over. I also want to give a special shout out to Wait in the Wings and Staged Right. I'm always learning something new and I enjoy watching and listening. Go check them out. The link is in the description. Well, let me know in the comments what were your 10 movies of 1986. Until next time.